At the line is Rex Sager, and he can really tighten the screws on this one. He'll have 2 shots. Here's the first. Good. Oh, he's got half of the battle won. That must take a lot of pressure off of that young man. Sager with another. He can really punch it here. The shot is in and out. No good. Drill pulls up the rebound. Down court from the out. With it is Mousa. Mousa shoots. No good. Ball loose. Mousa picks it up. 5 seconds remaining. Mousa drives. Moves in. No good. Rebound loose. That's it. No good. Bouncing movement. Nobody is one. Loogootee falling all over the floor. Jack Butcher is going 8.
This is the 60th Indiana High School Athletic Association basketball tournament being played in Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. The first game this afternoon sends the Carmel Greyhounds against the Loogootee Lions. Both teams are making their first appearance ever in the Final Four. Each has won 24 games so far this season, including tourney play, and has lost 3. Carmel made its way to the final through the Fort Wayne semi-state area, Loogootee by the way of Evansville. Loogootee is the smallest school remaining in the tournament with just over 500 students and should be the favorite of the fans in this first game.
Hello again, everybody. Getting to know your Indiana neighbor today with Alan Rex Sager. How long were you going to keep that from us?
I don't know. My mother picked the name Alan and my dad picked the name Rex, and so you know why did he call me Rex? Because Dad was pretty in charge.
You know where I got that from? You don't know where I got that from because you're not on Facebook. So
no, I'm not
when
on
I put
Facebook.
this out, Mrs. Armstrong, Farrell Armstrong, said Alan Rex Sager, and I thought, what? So there you go. Never knew. See, we've been in here 10 seconds, and you've already learned something new about our Indiana neighbor.
Yeah, she even named her son middle name Alan. I don't know whether it was really because of me or not, but she said it might have been.
Okay, I probably should call you Rex. Is that okay?
Rex is what I am known as anyway, yeah.
Well, it's great to have you back in town, Rex. How often do you get back in Loogootee?
Well, not often enough. I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times a year. Okay,
well this is one of those times, so that's good. For those of you who don't know Rex Sager, you're probably not watching anyway, but if you're a casual watch, you just want to see what's going on. Rex, of course, a few years ago was I hate to use the term star, but a key member of the 1969-70 Loogootee Lion basketball team. And if you don't know about the Loogootee Lion 1969-1970 basketball team, you're not watching anyway. But I do want to talk about your family in a moment, Rex, and of course, growing up in Loogootee. All of those things that shaped Rex Sager, and we'll talk a lot about that 1970 team. It'll take a little bit to get there, and then we want to talk about post-1970 because 55 and a half years later, what the heck have you been up to?
It goes fast.
It goes fast,
wow, does it ever.
You're retired.
I am. Been retired for 18 years.
Living in the Sunshine State now.
Have a place in the Florida Keys.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's summer every day, yeah.
Are you down there the whole year? Or
I live there about 7.5 months a year, and then Indiana the rest of the time.
It's a pretty good gig if you
It's pretty good. Like I said, summer all year round.
Yeah. So we'll find out more about them. I want to read something though, and this starts with the 1970 team. Rex doesn't have Facebook. Okay, he's one of those guys who's smart. Doesn't do Facebook, and I'm sure there are a lot of reasons for that, a lot of good reasons not to have Facebook. But if you didn't know, mostly I steal pictures from Facebook of the people that I interview. No pictures from Rex, so he had to send me, and he sent me a bunch of great pictures that you'll see as we go along. But something I got from the yearbook, I'm going to read this to you. You'll see it on the screen as I read it, but I don't know if you remember this, Rex, that it was in the yearbook or how often you get to the yearbook, but it's just titled, "It Was Great!" exclamation point. 1970 was the year of the Lion, the Loogootee Lions of Loogootee High School, a year that will be remembered over all years by everyone in this community and surrounding area as the 1969-70 basketball team brought honors to our town that no one has ever managed to do before. This town will never be the same, And the thanks goes to our dedicated coach, Jack Butcher, and his mighty Loogootee Lions. We all say thanks. It was great. Keeping in mind that was written over 55 years ago. And again, here we are talking about this and how important it was to the community 55 years later. I don't know who wrote that, but it was certainly spot on, wasn't it? Because
Yeah,
we'll never forget it.
I don't remember that actually, but that is well written. It's given me goosebumps. Look at that.
Well, we never did forget it, and never will, and that's why we want to keep this alive, and Rex has been gracious enough to talk to us. But did you ever, in your wildest dreams, going into your senior year, maybe even after your senior year, think about somebody wanting to sit down and people might be interested in you talking about this team?
I'm not even sure right now today why why anybody'd be interested in what I've got to say, but here I am, and I'll say some stuff. That's for sure.
Well, a lot of times, selfishly, it's because I want to find out. So if I want to find out, I know there's other people, at least in my age group, a little bit younger, a little bit older, who want to find out about Rex Sager and that 1969-70 basketball team as well.
Well, the basketball team and Rex Sager before 1970 and Rex Sager after I left high school is more about the people that I know and who helped me than it is about Rex Sager. I have been so lucky in my whole life to be surrounded by great, supportive people. And it all started here in Loogootee.
And it all started with your parents, right?
It started with Mom and Dad.
Talk about them a little
Bruce and Donna Sager. My dad was from Freelandville, Indiana, from a family of coal miners. He started out as a coal miner and moved to the gypsum plant in Shoals. My mother grew up in Wheatland, Indiana, a little gas station motel business in Wheatland on Highway 50, between Wheatland and Vincennes. While I'm talking about my mom, on my mom's side of the family, something that we in our family have been proud of is that we're descendants of Abraham Lincoln.
No kidding.
Yeah, I often say to people, this little President Abraham Lincoln has no living direct descendants. Yet I'm a direct descendant of Abraham Lincoln. How can that be true?
I have no idea. Tell us.
Here's how it's true. Abraham Lincoln had 3 sons. I have to look at my notes to remember their name. Josiah, Mordecai, and Thomas. Thomas had a son also named Abraham who became the president. Josiah is the line that I am a direct descendant of. So I'm a direct descendant of President Abraham Lincoln's grandfather, Abraham Lincoln.
That's amazing. So are you into that, or did that just fall in your lap?
I was able to document it, so it's a fact. It's not just me saying that. It has been an important historical fact that, we as family, I'm looking at my sister who's joined me here for moral support. Yeah, it's something that we know about, have thought about, and researched a little bit, yeah.
Well, that's a big standard to live up to.
Well,
Yes, okay. I mean, come on. He's the first Indiana neighbor that's a descendant to Abraham Lincoln, I guarantee you that. I can't guarantee anything because people may be and they just don't know it. All right, so Bruce and Donna Sager.
yeah.
How'd they get to Loogootee?
When Dad went from the coal mine to the gypsum mine in Shoals, they moved and relocated in Loogootee to be closer to Shoals. Thank God they did not move to Shoals.
We may edit that for you Shoals people. But Loogootee Shoals, I understand.
Well, Shoals thinks they're it. SH for Shoals, IT for it. So.
Oh, you're doing the old, yeah. Going, you can't even get by with that today, but those were cheers. Those were cheers.
They said that from the cheer block.
Yeah, I know.
That's where I learned it from.
I know. They also talked about over at Washington, remember, what was the cheer on Junior G and hanging Junior G? Or you don't have to recite it, but...
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, there was. But those are things that today I'm sure the superintendents, the principals would come down a little hard on the students if that were the
I
case.
was one, so I understand.
I know, we'll get into that. So they moved to Loogootee. He worked at Gypsum?
Gypsum, U.S. Gypsum.
Okay. He retired from there?
He worked his entire career after he started at Shoals, at Gypsum, rest of his career there, yeah.
When he was in the coal mine, was it in the coal mine? Yeah, it was.
Yes, he was a shaft coal miner until he became a shaft gypsum worker. So he worked underground his whole life. And had I not played basketball well enough to go to college, I might very well have followed him.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, what else would I have done?
Yeah. Was he day shift, night shift, both?
Mostly day shift, but sometimes night, but mostly day.
He was able, and your mom was able to get to most of your games, or were they interested even?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, during that 1970 run, Dad had he wore the exact same clothes to every game for good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, and your mom, did she work outside the home?
No, she didn't. She stayed home and took care of things. Mom never drove. She, for a period of time, and this might choke me up a little bit, for a period of time, she walked to the Alcoa dime store to earn some money when I was a senior. Maybe it was when it was when I was a senior, so that she could save up $50 to give to me so that I could buy my prom date the appropriate flower and I could rent a tux. And I didn't know how much that meant at that time.
Right.
Now I do, obviously. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So she worked at the dime store clerk?
I'm not sure what she did.
So never drove?
She didn't, no.
Any idea what I know back then a lot of women didn't, but in her case, she just never wanted to, never had the education. As far as driver's education, just what was her reason?
Honestly, I cannot answer that. I don't know what the reason was. At the same time, her mother, my grandmother, didn't drive for the longest time, and then later in life she did learn to drive and did drive, but Mom just never did.
Never had the
I don't
desire?
have an answer for that.
Okay.
I'm looking to my sister.
Yeah,
Do we?
that's
have-
okay.
She tried to take lessons to drive, and she was just too nervous.
Okay,
Too nervous.
tried to take lessons
Yeah,
to drive.
I didn't
too
know that.
nervous. I was too nervous too, but I stuck with it.
I
got
she
through
was
that somehow.
she was incredible when she would send me to the grocery store to buy a list of whatever groceries, for home. She would, beside it, she would have how much it cost and the total, and if the total was $10.75 when I checked out, that's what it was, $10.75.
Oh my gosh.
She knew how much everything cost,
Yeah.
and she was very organized, and and so was my dad. Dad was very organized, and I believe that I am as well, and I got it from them.
Where did you feel like you fit in from the financial side, that poor, low income, middle income, upper income? Where as a child did you feel like your family fit in?
I never felt like we didn't have anything that we needed.
Yeah.
If we were poor, we didn't know it.
Right.
And if we were rich, we didn't know it. We were just kids in the neighborhood like every other kid in our neighborhood, and we had a great neighborhood. We all were the same.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if your dad had an income at all and he worked at Gypsum, I'm sure that you were just as well off as anybody else in your neighborhood, in your area. Speaking of your neighborhood, your area, where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up on Sycamore Street in Loogootee, and it was a great street, great friends. On that street, down this way, lived Pat Pankey. Probably talk about him more later.
Okay.
One of my very best friends, John Olson, right across the street.
John Olson.
Right across the street the other way was Mike Lynch, Debbie Lynch, Richard Summers, Steve and Mike Baker. John O'Malley even lived down the street on Sycamore Street. So those are some great friends and great times right there. Randy Bright lived about a block over. Max Jones didn't live too far away. He was a friend of mine. Van Baker was close. Yeah, I had great friends and all close by.
What about siblings?
My sister Jan, my brother Gary, and my youngest sister Susan.
Okay.
Susan came along after I had already left for college, so she's my sister. I don't know her quite as well as far as growing up as I did Jan and Gary.
So Susan, I'm sure when he said, she's my sister, there wasn't a but after that. It was just simply, yeah.
I just didn't know her growing up because I was already grown up and gone when she came along.
It's amazing how many people I've talked to from that era, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later, same situation. I mean, it's just amazing. Back then, you don't see that as much today, you do, but back then it was, I was already out of school, didn't really know my sister as well, or brother, but I understand that completely. All right, let's talk preteen years on Sycamore Street. I'm sure you had a bicycle.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you remember? Did you have one that was special to you?
Yeah, there was old Smokey,
Oh my gosh!
black bicycle. It was 24-incher.
And you did name it Smokey, right?
I did name it Smokey,
right.
yeah. And then as I got a little taller, that bike went to my brother Gary, and I got a 26-inch bike that was red that I just rode everywhere. In fact, I remember one time Loogootee sponsored a bicycle race down Line Street, and I thought I was going to be pretty competitive in that. My legs were pretty strong from riding that bike all over the place. Well, I thought I was pretty good until John O'Malley went by me like I was sitting still. I mean, he was something else. He really was. You know, in those preteen days, I have to include my experience with Little League and Pony League. And those of you watching that played during that time, when Mr. Page ran that program, I thought it was great. You know, looking back now as a retired educator, I still think it was great the way Mr. Page set it up, where he would pick captains, and we captains, or I was one once, we picked our own team and managed our own team and so forth. Well, during those days, if you hit a home run, he would give you a certificate, and you could go to the Dairy Master, and the guy at the Dairy Master would give you a gallon of root beer.
Oh, a gallon of
Yeah.
Okay.
A guy named Junior Hudson, heck, he would get...
Oh, yeah.
He would get 2 or 3 gallons, it seemed like, every time we played. I mean, that guy could hit. Anyway, one time I shared my gallon of root beer with some teammates, and on the way home, I had a bicycle accident on that red bike, broke my arm. I told Mom I was drunk on root beer.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. But Junior Hudson, it's funny that you should mention that, because I'm a little younger than you, but that name from my brothers continues to come up if we would talk about baseball, softball, whatever, that he could hit a mile. But he never played baseball, did he?
He didn't play organized ball in high school that I remember. In Little League and Pony League, he could hit from either side of the plate. He was a switch hitter. And
Wow.
another guy that had great natural baseball abilities, Paul Bruner. He was right there with Junior Hudson. He could hit too. And Randy Bright.
Yeah.
We had a lot of great baseball players.
Yeah. And you played baseball in high school?
I did, and that's an interesting story too. Back to Mr. Page. Mr. Page, well, let me back up just a little bit if I may. The very first year I played Little League, all the kids that wanted to play gathered around the old baseball diamond. Mr. Page would count up how many, divide it by maybe 12 to determine how many teams there would be, and then he'd pick 12 captains or however many, and then the captains started picking players. So I don't know how Mr. Page determined who picked first, but you know, you'd pick, and then after the 12th captain picked, the first captain would get the second pick, and so forth. That first year I played, I was the last kid in the whole town picked for a team.
So somebody's got to be, right?
Somebody's got to be last.
But you always remember that.
The Tribune printed it.
Okay.
Who got picked, and I was the last name picked. I was heartbroken, really. And it said, and Rex Sager. And Mom comes in, you know, I'm kind of weepy, and she goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm the last one picked, and it's in the paper." She goes, "Yeah, but they had to say, and Rex Sager."
That's right. That adds a little bit to that. It adds attention to it. Last, man.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what I was getting at. That's how Little League started. And then as I kind of caught up with my body, I grew fairly quickly. By the last year I was in Little League, I was captain, and I was honored to be captain. It was great. And then I think it was 3 years of Pony League. I played on John O'Malley's team my first year, and then the second 2 years I was a captain. So Mr. Page saw me develop in terms of baseball. And when I then was a freshman in high school and went out for baseball, back to your question,
Yep.
Mr. Butcher was the baseball coach at the time, and he was having us one by one hit, you know, like in batting practice. He would throw to us and see if we could hit. I think his name was Rick Anderson, something Anderson. He was a great pitcher. I couldn't hit a thing. I did not even hit a foul ball. when my turn was over with. So, hell, I just left. I was embarrassed, I left. And then like the next Monday when Mr. Butcher posted the guys that made the team, I was on the list. And he came up to me, he says, "Why did you leave?" Mr. Butcher came up, "Why did you leave?" I said, "Well, I didn't hit anything. I didn't figure I was on the team." And he said, "Well, Mr. Page told me that you were a pretty good baseball player, and I trust Mr. Page, so you're on the team." And that year was the first year IHSAA did a sectional in baseball, and I was lucky enough to be on that team that won that
So
sectional.
you went from Mr. Irrelevant in your draft
Little
in
League, yeah.
to captain, to didn't think you were going to make the high school team, and then there you were on
Yep.
the team. Pretty good team? Must have been.
We had great baseball team. We had some great players. Rex Strawn, wow, what a great catcher he was. And I always wanted to be a catcher too, so I kind of watched Rex. And when he graduated in '68, then Mr. Butcher made me the starting catcher for those last 2 years. In fact, he let me do some pitching as well obviously when I wasn't catching. And I loved playing baseball. Baseball was fun, and I was okay at it.
Mm-hmm. Didn't win any of those sectionals?
We won that. Help me out, Rex. I thought we won. Yeah, pretty sure we won that first sectional. In fact, I know we did. We got beat in the regional at Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right. First job? Do you remember your first job?
First job that I had that paid me money was mowing grass for people in the neighborhood. I wouldn't do it now for $1.25, but or my second job was putting up hay, and that was pretty grueling too for maybe $1.50.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first 2 jobs that paid me money was cutting grass and putting up hay. Harold Green, who owned the Tribune, lived on Sycamore Street, and then he moved into what we thought a mansion.
Yeah, I know where
back,
you're talking.
You know where?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the name of that addition back there, but he had a nice big house and a huge lawn, and he hired me to cut that grass. And I used our family lawnmower. It was a 19-incher, so I had to go back and forth a lot of times. It took me like half a day to cut his grass for $1.25.
Gosh. And Green Acres, I believe, is what it's
Okay,
called.
that sounds right. Okay, I thought that was too funny to be true.
Yeah, I know. I never put that together, but it is, and it's that stone home.
Yes, it was a beautiful home.
It still is. Yeah. So he must have done pretty well as Tribune owner. So yeah.
He was good to me, and his daughter Carla was great to me too, and beautiful. So
Carla Green. Okay.
Wasn't that her? That's not right.
Yeah, I don't remember Carla. His son Denny was in my class, and Denny passed away here in the last year.
I did not realize that.
Sure did.
Yeah,
Sure did.
he was younger than me, so he didn't get the job of cutting the grass, I guess.
No, yeah, he would have been a little young for that at the time. All right, so now we're in high school. Let's talk about freshman year. Where are you in your freshman year? You're at the school next to the old gymnasium, right? Okay.
Yes, I started first grade in that building. Second grade, the new elementary school was built, so I moved back over there. And then in high school, back to the old building. So I had geometry in my old first grade classroom.
Is that right? Yeah.
Now, you asked me about my freshman year. It's got to be one of the worst years of my life. I am not kidding.
Okay.
Not kidding. Mr. Butcher put me on the varsity, placed me on the varsity. I was the only freshman on the team.
In basketball?
In basketball, yeah, I'm sorry, in basketball. And we had a separate locker room just for the varsity basketball players, and of course my locker was in there. We had a shower with two showers, only one of them worked. And because I was the only freshman, I was always the last one to take a shower. We had lockers that were made out of wood and like chicken wire or whatever, and they were about, 3 feet wide, 4 feet high, and they were attached to the wall. A lot of times Pat Pankey would make me get in my locker, literally, and lock it, and then they'd leave. And thank God for David Lett, who was the student manager and one of my best friends along with John Olson. Those two guys were my best friends growing up. He would have to get me out of the locker. talk.
Student managers have a way.
Oh my God, I was, you know, today you'd call that being bullied.
Right.
And Rex Strawn always
I'm
said,
pretty sure back then you'd call it bullying.
well, Rex Strawn always said, it made you tougher.
Yeah.
Well, it might have made me tougher, maybe, but it had a long-lasting effect. So anybody that was on that team, like Steve Brett and Kenny Fry and Jim Nigg and Rex Strawn, they, if you talk to them, they'll talk about how Pat Pankey was hard on me that freshman year. But I stuck with it, you know.
Did you do any of that when you were a senior to freshman?
Probably.
Probably.
Probably thought I was supposed to, but not like Pat.
Not like that. You didn't
stuff
anybody in the line.
More. When you ask me that question, what comes to mind? And I talked to this guy about this recently, and he doesn't even remember this, thank God. But Mr. Butcher, he liked hustle. He liked us diving for balls. He liked floor burns on our knees. He didn't mind a little blood on our elbows. And when he'd get in the mood at practice, he'd say, I want to see a little blood. And he'd yell at me and he'd say, Sager, I want to see a little blood out there. It made me mad, and so I hit Mike Lannon in the face, and I hit him, and his teeth came through between his top of his lip and his nose. And I said, there's your blood.
Oh my! Now
So
you're talking about going for a rebound or something?
No, just standing there. Boom.
Oh my goodness gracious! Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty calm nowadays, but I was pretty mean back in those days. I think because of Pat Pankey.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah.
Right. So your freshman year was not a good year for you?
No, it wasn't.
Did you play varsity? I know you were on the team, but did you get to play?
No, I played the first game of the season against Shoswick, I believe it was. We were way ahead, and Mr. Butcher put me in at the end of the game, and I scored 4 points. So the rest of the season, you could only play 4 quarters between JV and varsity, and he rightly so. He had me playing and maturing on the freshman team. Mm-hmm. So I never played another game, but because I only played in that one game and scored 4 points, I had a 4-point average.
That's
as a
good.
freshman.
For a freshman, that's not bad at all. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to your sophomore year. Are you now? And by the way, we're at the old JFK Gymnasium.
We are.
Right. So did you get more playing time your sophomore year?
Yes, I was moved to the starting lineup along with Jim.
Excuse me. Were you tall at the time? Obviously now you're 6'5", whatever. But were you always projected to be a tall young man?
I think probably my sophomore year, I was probably 6'3.5", somewhere in that range. I was still growing at that time.
It's tall for Loogootee.
I was a starting lineup with Rex Strawn and Jim Nigg at forward, and Joe Lekumsky and Cecil Trulove at guard. We had a pretty good season. During the course of that year, though, we had a game at Odin one day, and I'm in Mr. Wrench's shop class, and I'm on a table saw cutting a board for something I was building for my grandmother, and the kid in the back of the class said, hey Rex, we're going to win tonight. And as I'm pushing the board through the saw, I looked up and said, yeah, we're going to beat them. Sawed my thumb off. My thumb was dangling down here. Blood was coming out here. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's like 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch shorter than the other one. Yeah. So obviously I missed that game. Mr. Wrench went with me to the hospital, and if you knew Mr. Wrench, he had a couple of fingers missing.
No,
he'd say,
I did not know
he
that.
said to me on the way to the hospital, he said, now have them save as much of that as they can.
Yeah, he had some
and I didn't know we were going to lose any of it to start with. And I'm telling you, that next day after surgery on my thumb, it looked like I was holding a light bulb. It was all swollen and bandaged up. The doctor came in, unwrapped it, and it was like a plum sitting there. It was dark. And he went next to my bed behind a sheet, like I couldn't hear him talking through the sheet. David Lett's father, Dr. Lett, was back there. He was like our family doctor and team doctor. I heard my surgeon say to Dr. Lett, if I don't see any pink in that thing tomorrow, we're going to have to take it off. And Dr. Lett, I remember him saying, he's a pretty good basketball player, and I'm not so sure how good he's going to be if he doesn't have a thumb on his left hand. And that next day, I'm just praying, you know, that when they take the bandage off, I'm going to see some pink. And sure enough, around my fingernail, there was a little pink.
Okay.
And so the next thing you know, I'm back to school, can't play. I think I missed 7 games, but Mr. Butcher put a backboard up on the stage. He titled it Sagerville. And even though I couldn't practice with the team, I was up there practicing, you know, layups, drills with my right hand. And as he wrote in his book, he wanted to keep me engaged in the team. And I was so thankful and still thankful to him for doing that. And Sagerville back in the day was well known. People probably have never heard of it these days. But
Sagerville, welcome to
Sagerville up on the old gym stage, yep.
Okay. Before we get to your junior year, because now you're getting into the upper class, and let's talk about in the halls of old LHS, all right? Academic-wise, I assume you had to be a pretty good student.
Nah, you assume wrong.
Okay, all right. Given what we'll talk about later in your career, just didn't apply yourself, maybe?
Well, I passed. It's not like I failed. It wasn't until many years later that I learned a little bit more about how the brain works in terms of learning process. I think I have a little bit of a learning disability when it comes to spelling. I used to envy David Lett so much when we would be in study hall together working on homework projects. He'd be writing out what he wanted. He didn't have to look up anything, and I felt like I had to look up every other word because I could. And that's true today. All through college, it was true. So I struggled in school, high school and college, with my spelling and because of that language arts. But I was really good at math. I passed. I was an average student.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your first girlfriend?
Yes, I do. I have to go all the way back to first grade. We didn't have kindergarten when I was in school.
Right. Okay.
I must have been a mama's boy. I didn't realize it at the time, but there were only 2 kids that were set outside of our first grade teacher's classroom, Mrs. McCarter. And it was me and June Strawn. And June she became, in my mind, you know, who I was going to go after.
Yeah, she's the one.
She was the one.
In first grade?
First grade, yeah.
You said that's Rex's sister?
Huh?
Did you say
Rex's sister. Okay. She didn't feel the same way, but I did. So, you know, as you're growing up...
You know it takes 2.
I know.
Okay. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You know, as we're growing up on Valentine's Day, you know, you take a Valentine to school for everybody in your class, and you'd give them out, and then they'd give them to you, and I'd go through the bag, and I'd look for hers, and I'd throw everybody else's away and open it up, see what she said. She didn't say much, but...
I'm with you, yeah.
And then she had a few other boyfriends along the way. But finally, our senior year, right before our senior year of high school, we started going out, and we had a great senior year, and a couple of years after that too. And we got to share that senior year together, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. But it was great athletically and heart-wise, too.
So finally,
she
came to, right? She came to her senses.
She got tired of rebuffing me, I guess.
Okay, all right. You took her to the prom?
She and I went to the prom, senior prom.
King of the prom, by the way, right?
Pardon me? King of the prom.
Yeah, King Rex.
Nancy Lentz, my queen. Yeah. Yes. Yep, thank you.
So as I said, I go to the yearbook, and they're looking at that picture right now, where you're just...
The look of love. You know, I actually had that picture blown up into a poster and had it in my college dorm over my bed. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You might be admitting a little too much here, but that's okay. We're trying to get to know.
She knew that.
Did she go to St. College?
No, she went to Indiana State, and I went to Indiana Central on a basketball scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We stayed in touch. You know, I'd drive over there when I could, and she'd come visit me when she could, and she got involved in college life and had things going on, and I really couldn't go over and visit during basketball season. I had my own commitments, and we just kind of fell apart, unfortunately.
All right. Great memories, though.
Yeah, great Great memories.
Great
Best.
All right. You said you weren't real good in school. Did you have a favorite class? Did you have a favorite teacher?
Oh, I had great teachers. I had lots of teachers that meant a lot to me. A lot of them, though, were actually also coaches. But those who were not coaches was, Farrell Armstrong, for one. Typing teacher.
Very young Farrell Armstrong.
And I can still type, Mrs. Armstrong. Not 36 words a minute, but I still do. Miss Hopkins was math teacher. I felt like I was pretty good in her math classes, especially geometry, but not as good as Peggy Sutton. So Peggy Sutton was like, I think she might have been our valedictorian, actually. She actually asked me a question every once in a while about geometry, which made me feel pretty good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As long as you gave her the right answer.
Well, yeah. But then of course, there's Mr. Butcher. He stands alone, and we'll talk about him probably individually. But Mr. Sims, Mr. Nanti, Mr. Clark, Mr. Kavanaugh.
Did you have Henry Jones?
I'm glad you asked that, because I was gonna end up with that one.
Oh well.
Did somebody set you up for that?
No. Actually, just in the yearbook, I know that he was there at that time, and
I was.
Lots of stories about Mr. Jones.
I have one for you for Mr. Jones. Every once in a while, I would do something I probably shouldn't have done in class, and this one time I had I don't know who I borrowed it from, but it had this little machine that would make a noise, an unflattering noise.
Oh, and you mean a prop?
A prop,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, one of those
prop.
kids. Yeah.
Okay. And so I set this prop up in somebody else's desk so that it wouldn't be obvious that I did it. But when the prop went off in his class, he looked right at me, and he said, "Mr. Sager, you will never amount to anything." And I'll never forget that.
Well, I wouldn't either. Wow. Okay. So he knew it was you.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know.
I'm sure there was a reason.
Well, I think Kenny Fry might have been pointing toward me when that happened.
One of these?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Page, was he a teacher?
Mr. Page.
At the time?
There are three men that are paramount in my life. My father, who I could go on and on about. Mr. Butcher, who we probably will talk more about. And Mr. Page. And Mr. Page in two different regards. One, as that organizer of Little League and Pony League, he saw something in me that caused him to make me captain of that first Little League team that I was captain of. And, being in charge of your team, I had to decide who was on first base, second base, what the batting order was. It was my first taste of being in charge, of being a leader. And Mr. Page was very encouraging and coaching, if you will, me being the coach. And it really took. I mean, it was my first taste of a leadership role that I loved it. And it had a lot to do with my later career choices of wanting to be a principal and then later becoming a superintendent. The other thing was Mr. Page as my high school principal. Again, very supportive of me personally and all of the students broadly. And I can remember one time, in keeping with what was going on in the 60s, everybody in high school went to the gym to stage a protest. I don't even remember what we were protesting, and I don't even know if we knew. But Mr. Page came in, pretty good mood for what we were doing as students. He tapped me on the shoulder and come up here, and I think he was doing that because of me being looked at as kind of a leader of some of the people in our class. And probably Jim Trout was right there with me. He said, "Okay, we've had enough fun today," and he says, "Let's get them back in class." So we started telling people, "Okay, we're done. Let's get back to class." And people stood up, and we got back to class. So I appreciated Mr. Page having that much faith and confidence in me that I could move that many people, along with Jim, back to class. So I have a lot of respect for Mr. Page because of how he felt about me. And that inspired me to be very involved in establishing the Lester Page Scholarship Fund in his name. I don't want people in this community to forget him.
Well,
he was a great man.
You may not know this, or you may, but you talked about his influence in Little League, getting it started. Our high school baseball field is named Les Page Field. And many kids today would not know who Les Page is, and probably still don't, even though it's Les Page Field. But I think his contributions has certainly been kept alive here in Loogootee based on that.
I'm happy about that.
Did you know that?
I knew most of that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Back to basketball a little bit. So your junior year happens to be, is this right? Your junior year was your last year in the old high school
No, it was
gymnasium?
my sophomore year.
That was the last one in your high school gymnasium?
Yeah.
Okay. So your sophomore year, you had told me, I think, if I got this right, that Loogootee Lions ended that season with a 49-game home court winning streak?
At the at the end of the season, we won our 49th consecutive home court game. Yes. And I sent you a picture of that. I don't know if you'll be using that in this or not, but I'm standing there with Cecil Trulove, Joe Lekumsky, Rex Strawn, Jim Nigg, the starting lineup, and Roger Wildman, who was our sixth man. We were in that picture. We had just completed the game. The gym had just emptied out, and somebody took a picture from the Tribune, I'm sure. And I have saved that picture. That picture means a lot to me. That was a year for Rex to Sager to go from a kid to a man. Playing varsity basketball for Mr. Butcher is not for a kid. You know, he'll make a man out of you.
Yeah, so that was, that would have had to have been, what, the 67-68 season, your sophomore year?
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So 68-69, you moved to this, what I would have considered at the time, the Taj Mahal, right? I mean, you're going from what we'd call a cracker box, even though at the time it was certainly a serviceable gymnasium, to this new gymnasium that you had to feel like when you walked into there, you walked into heaven.
I didn't.
And sometime hell, I would imagine.
Sorry?
And sometime hell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
During
Yeah,
some of
we're
those
back
practices.
to Mr. Butcher, right?
Yeah.
I think he put on his calendar arbitrarily, be mean to Rex this day. I don't know what I ever did to be so much trouble on some of those days.
saw the potential.
And he never said anything cross to Jim Trout, no matter what Jim says.
See, now Jim might say the same thing about you.
Yeah. He and I always joke about that. Yeah, that gym was great. I didn't feel in awe of another gymnasium in the same way until we made it all the way to Hinkle Fieldhouse, and that's, again, a later story. But yeah, Dave Lett was the student manager from his freshman year on. He and I were great friends, still are. He had a key to the gym and in his role as student manager, and we would go almost, heck, if not every day, several times a week, just to watch the progress, not of the biology lab certainly, but of the gym being constructed. We saw them put the boards down on the gym floor. We saw them sand them. We saw them paint. I can remember the day that they put the goals on the backboards, on the day they put them on.
Right.
The floor hadn't even been varnished yet. We were there watching. I grabbed a basketball so I could be the first one to hit a basket in the new gym. It didn't count, but I know I was the first one because I saw the goal go on the bankboard. Yeah, we loved that. We loved that, having the new gym. You know, the old gym had double center lines.
Yep.
A full court was, 2 full courts couldn't fit in that gym. And because of that, it was longer to run from one basket to the other in the new gym,
And one line to the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you know, you know.
I didn't realize how much that little bit of difference during the course of a game made. But Mr. Butcher must have known that too. I knew he knew that because we were very well conditioned. He ran us. We were in good condition. I don't think any other team that we played were in better condition than we were.
So the new gym. Wow. So that's your junior season then. You had a good season, but that St. John season, where they went undefeated during the season and lost to North ABC in the sectional, that sectional was packed. Wasn't it? I mean, any one of, what, 3 or 4 teams, I'm sure, Otwell, Loogootee, Washington, and St. John's, and you tell me who else maybe could have won that. North Davies, obviously.
North Davis, St. John's, Otwell. I never thought Otwell was going to come out of that. I thought it was either going to be St. John's or North Davis. Otwell had a couple of kids that were really good. Steve Barrett and Rick Weissman, I think was
Rick Weissman, yeah.
Yeah. St. John's beat us. And St. John's also beat us the year before in the sectional. So one of the questions that I thought you might ask is about the burning of St. John's High School and what I remember most about that. What I remember most about that was that Mr. Butcher and I never got caught.
No. Edit. To this day. Yeah. But you say that. No, you don't say that. Tell me what you mean.
Huh?
I mean, tell me what you mean by, I know it's a joke.
Well, what I mean, obviously that was a joke, but what I mean is if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
I'm telling you, Loogootee, over the years, between St. John's and Loogootee Public, LHS, we have had some great basketball players.
Right.
And, Jim Trout and I often talk about what our team in 70 could have been, or not that team, but in 69 could have been, and 67 could have been, and years prior to that could have been. If we would have had just one high school, and in the days, if we would have had class basketball in those days, Loogootee would have won several state championships. I have no doubt in my mind.
In one class, in the one class system.
And who knows, in the one class, no, what I'm saying is in the multiple class systems, I know we would have won several.
Then, right, yeah.
In the one class system, who knows?
Right.
Who knows? I mean, people in Loogootee that are our age, they probably still think about that.
Well, did you have good relationships with the St. John's kids? I mean, obviously it's a small community. Did you hang out? Did you know a lot of them? You're on Sycamore Street. John O'Malley, you're telling me that he was on there, and a few others. Did you have much interaction with them?
Okay, I'm only speaking for myself now. And the answer is no. But it's not no because of any particular negative reason. It was just that the Loogootee Public kids, for the most part, hung together, and the St. John's kids kind of hung together. And like I said, John O'Malley was only 1 year older than me, and he just lived just a few houses down. I hardly knew him at all.
Okay.
He was so involved in what he was doing, and I was involved in what I was doing. It's not like I had any ill feeling toward him at all. Just didn't get to know him, really. And that's unfortunate. It's not like that today with the combined school, but it was the way it was.
Yeah. So, all right, so we get to your senior year, and the St. John's School burns down, so now the consolidation, 1969-70. So Jim Trout and others come over, you start your practices. Somehow, some way, you have to come together. Was there anything in your mind that you remember that Coach Butcher or anybody else did to make sure that you're brought together as one team now instead of two?
I remember still to this day, the day after St. John's beat us in the sectional, my junior year. I was in the gym shooting free throws. Mr. Butcher came walking by, and I stopped and walked over to him, apologizing for lack of effort, and saying, next year we're going to win the sectional.